Vishal Agarwal is the Chairman and Chief Executive Officer of Full Circle Africa, where he's playing an eminent role in impacting the youth and entrepreneurs in Africa. He started his career as a senior consultant at PricewaterhouseCoopers in Washington and then made partner in Kenya in 2004. Vishal was then a global top 500 senior leader for General Electric. He has led deals with $15 billion of financings in over 30 countries. This inspired him to write his debut book, Give to Get. Give to Get illuminates rarely discussed challenges for those in business leadership roles, particularly in corporations. Vishal is a true globalist. He is an inspiration to employees at all levels. We had the unique opportunity and privilege to sit with him at the Harvard Business School Crossroads event to chat about leadership and about life. It's a wonderful privilege when you meet somebody where you actually start connecting with your heart and you start connecting in terms of some experiences in life. And you know, a friend of mine once shared with me that getting on with people and becoming friends with people, it's not just a factor of time. We can actually connect very, very quickly. And that's what happened between Vishal Agarwal and I, who's here today in Dubai, all the way from Nairobi, Kenya. And he's on his book tour. He's just launched this book, which is quite amazing, and we'll be talking about this book today. And really what inspired him to do this and how what's the narrative and what's the story behind it. So Vishal, welcome, good to see you.
Thank you, Tariq. So great to see you.
It's a real pleasure, my friend, and I'm so happy we're here, we're at Harvard. You know, you were a panelist today. People loved your comments, and it was great.
Thank you.
Now, we first met almost 2 years ago when you needed hardly, I would say, coaching, but a little guidance on mind mapping.
That's right. That's right.
and that's how we first met, mind mapping for negotiation. And do you have any memories of that?
I do indeed, and they're very vivid. I learned so much from you, and you were so giving in that. I recall you bringing Tony out.
That's
and
right, yes.
He was the author of the
yes.
architect of mind maps, and taught me how to mind map, and I learned so much, and I used it with my teams, I used it myself till I ran out of ink in my color pencils.
Yes, exactly.
But it really helped me think, so thank you. Because
you know, you have an amazing career with you know, with PricewaterhouseCoopers and then with GE. When you sort of start looking at your whole career, how do you start pulling it together in terms of what you are today as a person?
Oh, really good question. That journey to a C-suite started as an $8 an hour intern, not unlike a lot of young people.
Yeah.
And I had, I would say, a lot of good days and dark days.
Yeah.
Lots of navigation, lots of days of confusion, lots of obstacles, lots of very lonely days, lots of very frustrated days.
Yeah.
But I learned so much.
Yeah.
I saw great success.
Yeah.
I understood what hard work truly meant, and it was not FaceTime.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's just learning. I mean, I think people underestimate the power of us humans in terms of the learning process, right? It's you learn from your mistakes. Sometimes you don't learn, and you get slapped twice or thrice.
Yeah.
And God help you if you need to be slapped more than that. But that learning, I think, is my journey to the C-suite, as it is for a lot of people.
You set up Full Circle Africa now. What is it about, and what inspired you to do that?
So, very quickly, the work that I've done on the continent around investing in companies, partnering with companies, scaling companies in my corporate life, I thought I would do that on my own balance sheet.
Yeah.
So after a 24-year corporate life, I thought, look, I could do this too. I've set up an investment vehicle, and we're doing venture capital work, industrial finance work, a bunch of special projects. And I hope people will consider us to be Africa partners. The days of partners being power brokers, influence peddlers is long gone. And I hope the tastemakers of Africa include credible professionals like me.
You made a very interesting comment in the panel today, which I'd like you to share with us again, and that is how you borrowed your your dad's credit card and his credit worthiness, and you equated that to how we do business.
How should we do business?
How should we do business? Yeah. So can you share that with us?
Yeah, for sure. My pleasure. So it's something that I've said quite a bit over the years, which is the story of a young student like me at 17, 18 years of age, trying to get a credit card and realizing very quickly I had no credit, but my father had a gold card in his wallet.
Yeah.
So I kind of said, well, let me jump on my father's credit. And if he would have just get me a additional card, an associate card, then I could use a credit card. I mean, very quickly I realized that using that, I could get to gold credit. Mm-hmm. My message with that is to take that to investors looking to the region. And if you look to Africa as a region, you kind of say, I have no credibility, I have no partners, I can't really attract great talent. How do I make this happen? Find local partners with the gold card.
Right.
Find platinum card partners. And their credit shall be yours. As long as you don't destroy their credit, like my father said to me, don't destroy my credit. Yeah. It's association risk and it works both ways. Right. You know, if you're Coca-Cola and you want a good local partner and you worry about your repute, well, I hope you worry about your partner's repute as well, and vice versa, because association is not a one-way game.
Indeed, indeed. Coming to your book, A Senior Leader's Guide to Navigating Corporate Life, an interesting little sort of preamble into the book. Can you tell us about what inspired you to write this? Because you're far too young to write a book. Another 20 years before you do that.
No, that's not entirely right, because inherent in your question is a vanity question. So I would be, and I am young to write a biography. I am young, at 46, to write a vanity book. Mm-hmm. I hope to God all our emerging market leaders stop doing that. Mm-hmm. We have lots of tales to share, lots of experiences to share, and I think that's the focus in my book. I found, to answer your question, I found that I was doing a lot of mentoring my job, because what is the job today of a senior leader? Yeah. The job today of a senior leader is to inspire your team, work with your team, have their backs, build great teams, create safety for them, counsel them, be their server, as opposed to worry about them serving you. And if that's truly the job of a senior leader and you have some experience to share, then the book allows me to amplify it. That's all.
I went through the book and it's actually very easy, very digestible, and there are lots and lots of stories. I mean, what's the story of the lion and the goat?
So the lion and the goat is something that I came up with many years ago in my life, and I have been using with mentees and staff teams and peers and personal assistants who walked into my office crying about being hazed in the office by someone else. And essentially, it's my belief in life that in the workplace particularly, there are only two kinds of people. You could be a lion or you could be a goat. And if you think about the lion is one where you pay really good money to go and see on an African safari in the wilderness. And if you do not get a picture of the lion, you are probably discounted by your friends as you're parading your picture. They say, oh, you didn't see a lion. How could you not see a lion? You yourself feel like something bad happened to you on this trip, and you missed out if you didn't see the lion. Yeah. Now, if that's the place of a lion, then the goat, when I think about a goat, all I think about is my Friday biryani with my friends. That's about all I think about when it comes to a goat. Now, if you kind of play that up, I'm not asking people to be aggressive. I'm not asking them to roar. I'm not asking them to kill. I'm saying, think about the regality of a lion. Think about the body language of a lion. Think about the poise and the self-awareness of a lion. Think about the confidence of a lion in the workplace, as opposed to a goat who yip-yaps, is restless, is running helter-skelter, doesn't have structure, is scared, is puts his head down. If you actually go and look at videos of a goat being slaughtered, I lived in Iran as a child and I've seen goats being slaughtered for festivities. I promise you will see the goat's neck going down as it's about being slaughtered. Now go watch a lion. right? If a lion, and lions are not in a tight corner at times. Lions are not threatened. Lions can also be endangered.
Yeah.
So you find a lion in a corner, as I've seen in on a Kenyan wild reserve being tranquilized, for example, to move for health reasons. You'll see the head going back. So the DNA of a lion is, even in bad times, even in hard times, the lion stands up, while the goat puts his head down. And all I'm saying to leaders, young and small, big and large, be the lion. Teach your kids to be the lions. Teach your peers to be lions.
Interesting.
Work with your staff to be lions.
But if you have only lions there, then won't you have a different kind of conflict?
Oh, we'd all be starved for biryani. Sure.
Absolutely. That's exactly what I mean, because I think you need some worker bees. You need some people who are happy not to be lions. And I often take that balance in place that do we do a sort of process of self-selection?
Well, look, I think a job of a leader today, yours and mine, is to try and inspire generations of lions. And if it so happens that we fail, if it so happens that people choose not to be lions, if it so happens that they remain goats,
right,
then we'll have biryani on Friday.
Fair enough. What's your favorite story here?
I love the servant leadership story with my friend Laz in Nigeria. And while I talk quite a bit about lions not being aggressive or not being bulldozers or not going at it, that servant leadership story is a little bit of an exception to that rule, which is if they come after your pride, if they come after your people, then you have their back. And you know, to my Range Rover versus bulldozer parable, that I say that you're going to get blood on you, you're going to get soil on you, there's going to be cost if you go head on. But that servant leadership story, using my friend Lazarus as an example, is I saw him not worry about the cost. Know the cost, be self-aware of the cost, but not worrying about the cost to himself when he saw his pride, his team, his staff at risk. And I think that's a pretty powerful message in my mind.
You know, we speak about a lot of transformation going on in business and in corporate life.
Yes.
Is this book already out of date?
I don't think so. I'd like to believe that the messages in my book are age-old.
Yeah.
So, you know, I'm pretty old-fashioned, you can tell by reading the book. I talk about dressing to work. I talk about not being a spa leader. I talk about how you play horizontal, how you deal with being underwhelmed, how you deal with your own personal burnout. I think that my father dealt with, and our children will deal with.
Sure.
But to deal with it with hopefully some hand-holding and a how-to guide, I might add, might get them through it quicker rather than make the mistakes that you and I made.
Sure, and I think to me, the reason I asked the question was there are a lot of constants and there are a lot of things that will be there permanently. And that to me was something that young people can look to. Sure. So do you think that this should become reading at a university and before they go out? I'm serious because
I'm much too overwhelmed and humbled by both the praise and the traction the book is getting to begin to prescribe it at universities. But I've gotten a lot of feedback already. I'm sort of on my third country book tour now, and I've got lots of feedback from college professors, young people, founders of company, students. And I'm really taken aback by how much it resonates with young people. I mean, to be very honest, I thought about a mid-senior level manager, a leader in a business when I wrote this as a primary audience. And I thought about a peer of mine, a C-suite peer of mine, a board chairman, as a secondary audience who would get it. But what I'm finding is young people, entry-level people, are really resonating with the messages, and I'm so humbled by that.
You know, you speak about being overwhelmed, and in my life, I have been overwhelmed many times. I ran out of gas. How do you ignite yourself again within corporate life? Because corporate life can be very debilitating.
Oh, that's the underwhelmed part.
That's the underwhelmed
That's
part.
the underwhelmed part.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
So I have a whole chapter in my book about being underwhelmed.
Okay.
And I think that there isn't a leader I've met, junior or senior, seasoned or not, who can actually, hand on their heart, say to me that they haven't gone to work feeling underwhelmed, that they haven't hated their job someday, hopefully not every day, but someday, that they felt bored, that they felt the grind, that they felt undervalued, they felt less appreciated, they felt this is not challenging enough. And that happens to all of us.
Yeah.
So how you deal with that is really key. And some of the things that I've learned about recrafting your own job, about finding ways to play more horizontal, maybe mentoring young ones, finding more innovation in your workplace, doing things that are not necessarily in your job description, might be one way to deal with it.
In your business life, have you ever been reverse mentored by a young person as opposed to you doing all the mentoring?
For sure.
Not the children don't count.
The children, I learned so much
I
from
know
my
you do.
10-year-old.
I'm sure you do.
Although I don't want to call her a mentor because that takes the mindset to a whole different level. But I've learned so much from young people. And I know, Tariq, you talk about young people in the boardroom.
Yeah.
Right? We don't talk about that enough.
Yeah.
If you talk to seasoned business leaders, there may be a penny drop moment when you talk about, young people in boardrooms.
Yeah.
It makes sense because these companies, they're going out in the future and they're going out with 70-year-olds or 60-year-olds or people even middle-aged like us.
Yeah.
But they're not thinking about the younger generation.
Yeah.
So I think I've learned a hell of a lot from young people, and I continue to learn from them. Have they truly mentored me? I think I've gotten better over the years because it requires self-awareness, it requires parking your ego,
Yep.
it requires coming down to a level where you can truly have a dialogue, and I've gotten better at it.
Yeah.
I wasn't mentorable my entire career,
Right.
but I got better as time went by.
So what's your one bit of leadership advice that you would give to a young person on the one side and an older person who is towards the end of their career, in the twilight of their career? Because they have different leadership advices to each one of them. Let me ask, the younger person is easier. What would be your advice to a young person going out into the world in terms of leadership?
For me, the young person is definitely be the lion.
Okay.
Be the lion, never be a goat, right? Always be a lion. And I think for the older person, I would say be most self-aware, allow people to play horizontal.
Okay.
I know you want to play horizontal as a senior leader, but do you allow others to play horizontal? Do you truly carry them? And then I would actually give senior leaders a homework assignment,
Okay.
a exercise, if
Okay.
you will. And that exercise is, if you look at my book, and I say there are actually only 3 team members. So if the 3 team members are ambassadors, i.e. your fans, your loyalists, we all have them in our teams, our favorites, the skeptics, those that are sitting on a fence, and those that are your detractors, perhaps people that are your backstabbers. We all have them on our teams,
Yeah.
and we're aware of them.
Yeah.
Then my challenge or assignment to all is write down your staff pool in the context of those 3 buckets. And ask yourself the question, how much time are you actually spending with your detractors? Do you spend all your time with your loyalists, your fans, your ambassadors? Do you spend any time with your skeptics? And are you actually trying to forget and exit your detractors? And I think that could be a nice exercise for business leaders.
Sounds good. Anything that you'd like to add that I may not have asked up to now? Any final comment? Any nuggets that you would like us to share with us? Because this will be the 1 minute that I'm going to be again and again.
Well, I think that the most valuable lesson I've learned in my life is what I take home to dinner every night. My priceless asset, it's one asset, my reputation. And I would submit to all business leaders, young and large, small and seasoned, that your reputation is everything. Your reputation is the most priceless asset. Wealth may come and go, success comes and goes, but your reputation is the priceless asset.
Brilliant.